comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Trevor Scott, here for our first episode of the night. And with me, as always, is Ben Slinger.
That's right. We are still recording multiple episodes in a night because I'm leaving for Canada. Which,
in just under 2 weeks, which is actually a number of weeks ago.
Yeah. We could have just not mentioned it at all and nobody would have noticed because we are managing to buffer enough. But anyway, that's fine. It's just a little insight behind the scenes. What are we doing tonight, Trev?
Click pitch.
Yeah.
Because Click Pitch is a game where we each have a random word generator in front of us. On the count of 3, 2, 1, click. We're going to click refresh, get a new word, an adjective and a noun, actually, because we're doing ramped up Click Pitch because that's... In fact, no, fuck it. We're not going to do ramped up Click Pitch. We are going to do random word plus, so I'll just change that.
Okay. One word each. Just to limit us that little bit more, or maybe limit us that little bit less, actually.
So maybe open it up. So classic Click Pitch tonight. Single word, single noun, and away we go. Video game design. 3, 2, 1, click.
Yeah. We should probably mention, yes, video games. That's what we're doing. 3, 2, 1, click is gymnasia.
But
with 1 T or 2s. It is a noun, so you would think 2.
It's 1, but still, okay. I don't give a shit.
I like this is gymnasia. Is that the plural of a gymnasium? One gymnasium.
Ooh. You
several gymnasia?
You're managing a whole heap of them, but there's like an alien attack going on.
Right, that's where we bring in but. It's just that there's
something else is happening.
Something else is happening. There's an additional aspect to this.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. I like that you're running a franchise of several gymnasia.
Mm-hmm.
You get to choose your marketing, your color scheme, your name of the franchise.
How many screens you got in front of the the treadmills to.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Are we going full on designing the insides and such in that very sort of tycoon-y kind of way? Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
But as soon as you get it set up, TVs static, and all of a sudden a big overlord sort of comes up on all of them. Somehow they managed to just on this one big screen, they managed to turn it into one of those things where you got multiple screens, but it's just one screen, it's just showing one thing.
Yeah.
Somehow it worked for this, but nothing else. Like all the other TVs are just showing the little face,
the little version.
Somehow it works. It happens in movies all the time. So anyway, I like the idea that you set this thing up, and then this is happening.
Okay.
So
I do love. And I feel like we do this a lot, and it would never work actually in the days of the internet. If this was like a 90s game, this would work a lot better. I love the idea that you spend, I don't know, multiple hours, setting this all up. Maybe it doesn't trigger until you've got 3 different locations. You're just running it as a fun little business tycoon. I'm picturing almost like a theme hospital kind of view of it, where you have your people coming in and you can follow them around and you see what they want to do, their goals, and if they go to meet with a personal trainer, you have to hire the trainers and hire reception staff. And then all of a sudden this event happens.
Well, it happens, but you're just a humble gymnasia owner. Yeah. You can't affect any of that story. That story's happening out there. And now, every now and again, you're gonna get a 13-limbed alien come in and enjoy your gymnasium.
And take over the whole weight area with all, you're doing 13 weights at once.
So you've now got to deal with that, and you've now got to, handle, okay, I've got a trainer that I've got to hire that caters for them. And then, when they get wiped out by another group, but the next group, it turns out to be even worse. You've now got to cater for them and some of the refugee of the original ones.
I love this actually. And from a gameplay perspective, I really like the idea of, that you're just actually it's just about catering your business to these different alien races. The fact that more of the 13-limbed race are coming in now you can watch you can get the news reports and see that, oh, this invasion has gone well or poorly or whatever, and that will change how often these people come in.
Yeah.
But all that it matters from the gameplay is you need to make sure you've got enough weights
to cater for that now. And
off.
enough treadmills, because it turns out that 8 of those limbs actually need the wider treadmills, because they need to make sure that they can all go at the same time.
And
in fact, 3 of them go at a slower speed, so you have to make sure that you cater
variable
for the
speed.
and they're linked together so that they know that.
Right. Yeah.
This one has a limp, so he has to change it a little bit different.
I quite like that. Just having that in the background, and really all it does is it just ups the difficulty. It just gives you new challenges as you manage your gyms.
Yeah.
And you can if you think if a bunch of Plutonians move into the nearby area, then you're like, okay, well, I should invest, in more of the heavier weights or whatever, because they're like rock monsters that are.
Well, you can even look at going, okay, we've got gyms that we can tailor to certain demographics. So you've got your women only gym, you've got your Plutonian only gym, and then you've got gym junkies, and that's just where all the
that's where
we nasty group.
Yeah, we just pour all the toxic masculinity into that one gym and keep it out of the rest.
Yeah, exactly.
And if it happens to be in a war zone, then it's not as big a loss. I mean, customer base, but
they do come to the gym a lot, and they do spend a lot of money on all the supplements that.
But it also costs a lot to hire the people to wipe the sweat off of all the machines that they never
and the lawyers that you obviously have to keep on.
Constant to fights and things,
especially between the Plutonians and the Neptunians. Always talking about who's further away from the sun, and
the Neptunians, they're prone to giving shit to the Plutonians about the fact that they're not a planet from a planet, from full blown planet.
Although their scientists do still see them as a planet. That's why they're like, Australia. Well, the Earth doesn't think that you're a planet. We know otherwise.
We know otherwise because we tried to take it over. We want it.
We want it for its many, many layers of ice and a big heart.
We want the Pluto's heart. And also, we're just big Disney fans. We thought it'd be cool to own it. Memorabilia.
Turns out the reason why they came in, captured Earth is because, and this is old news for all the people out here, but this is just for us. Netflix has stopped them from borrowing the subscription of some of the Earth peoples,
right?
So they had to pay for their own,
and they weren't happy.
So they weren't happy, so they came and conquered Earth because of it. Because damn Netflix.
Because Netflix, the Neptune version of Netflix is nowhere near as good. They don't have The Office or anything.
No. Well, they've got The Office. It's just the Neptunian version of it, and it's
right. And that's because the Neptunian version, it's not even based on the UK, but it's based on the US version, and now it's the Neptunian version. So it's like
it's too far
degrees
removed.
Removed now. It just didn't really.
In fact, it's actually based on the Ionian one, which is the small.
Of course, I forgot that they had made that leap in there too.
Yeah, so it's 3 degrees from the UK office, and it lost some of it in translation. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, click.
Lint.
Assembler.
What is it?
Assembler. Okay, this is the secret of how lint actually gets in your belly button. There's actually
so because I was thinking the opposite way, that we're assembling things from lint and harvesting it from belly buttons, but it could go either way, I guess.
I like both. Let's explore both. And
well, I mean,
so
it could
you're
be,
a lint
it could
fairy.
be the whole life cycle.
you're a lint fairy.
Yeah.
Because obviously.
I mean, that's where lint comes from or is taken
and goes
by.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, it's kind of like an oyster. They plant a little seed of lint.
They just drop in a little grain of sand and the lint kind of starts to
coalesces around it.
Coalesce around it, yeah.
Yeah. So the lint fairies go out and plant all the seeds, and then after 3 weeks they come and
they come for the harvest.
Yeah. They come for the harvest. Yeah.
Yeah. Is this what is this what the Sandman actually does? Like, it's not about sleep.
100%.
It's about lint.
Well, he
seedlings.
originally put it in the eye, and that's where sleep actually comes from.
Of course, yeah. That's used for a different process.
Well, that's to make sure that you stay asleep while he's harvesting the lint.
Right, because people are kind of ticklish.
Ticklish, yeah.
In their belly buttons, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So he glues your eyelids shut with a piece of sand.
Well, the sand just triggers the process of, goop.
Yeah.
But yes, it's utilizing the body's natural, defenses. Glue your eyes shut.
Yep.
Plant the sand /
the lint sand. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So this is a management, not a management sort of game, but it's like a, I don't know. I can't do like the idea of sending your minions out to go harvest.
That's what I was kind of
thinking. This neighborhood.
I think
it
is sort of a bit of a management game, but from a higher level where you've got your territories.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, and you got to try and take over other people's territories by
yeah. So you've got your territories
by building your lint cannons that you can fight off against.
Well, that's what you need. This is the thing. You can invest the lint that you harvest in research, development, construction, weapons, and grow. Yeah, exactly. Grow your tech tree and yes, take over the territories of, the other mythical dream beings.
Yeah. Sandman is that's just a designation. That's the level. It's sort of like a captain.
Right. Yeah. So the other Sandmen who manage their particular regions for their organizations.
Yeah. There's something about this game that I'm already sort of seeing that. Yeah, you could have quite a bit of an economy. You can actually have maybe some of your underlings or your minions or whatever. Yeah. They have different levels of success, so that you send them out and they may have woken people up because they're shit at their job and I
think you, as they spend more time in the organization, they'll essentially level up, or they'll be promoted, or they'll get better at their job. And yes, they have a higher lint yield, less likely to be because if the person wakes up, then they just have to flee, and you might lose that whole. You might delay that whole crop, basically.
But also, if you put too much sand in the belly button, they may actually, you might have a shower. You may get a neat freak that actually, picks their belly button lint out, and then you lose that nugget. That nugget
That's
of lint.
Right. Yeah. But I'm picturing like a top-down view to the point where you can see all the streets and stuff and the houses, and that we just have not a particularly detailed, a somewhat abstract, but you can see the little points of light essentially of all your little sand fairies going into each house and kind of, staying in there for however long. You get your little, they fill up with color or something to sort of show the process is happening there. And maybe even to the point of you have to, because I'm sort of picturing them traveling around in these big, floating ships through the air, almost like pirate ships or something.
Yeah, I like that.
Galleon sort of things. But you place them, that's part of the gameplay. It's oh shit, we could harvest this area more effectively if we had a galleon circling, taking over this area, and then you just see them, using that.
Then you can actually also upgrade your hourglass, because obviously that's where that shows how much
the source of your
seed sand you can actually have, or And then I don't know. I see what should lint be caught in, like a little vacuum cleaner, and then they put it into like
they've got little vacuums that like will just like create a vacuum, like a suction over the belly button and just like pull it out. They basically empty big vacuum bags into the the hold of the galleon, which then so again like the more galleons it means less
the more lint that
less
you can
often
actually capture.
Less often that they have to then bring it back to your storage units or whatever whatever you're storing it in long term.
Okay, so when they inadvertently accidentally wake someone up, what is the process that do you have to have like a mind wipe squad that goes around to actually
that could be a way to do it. I think what happens is
it's usually alcohol based. They just pour like scotch down their throats.
You've got Captain Whiskey comes around, or Captain Morgan. Yeah, I think from sort of you abstract it away a little bit in that like you see, a fairy goes into the house, the meter starts filling up for essentially how far through the job they are. But if they botch, like if there's there's a random chance essentially based on their skill level and different things that yes, the person will wake up. And I think that takes that house out of commission for a certain amount of time because now they're like, they're sort of wary or something. Unless, yes, you have paid for and hired the squads to go around and essentially, mind wipe them or yes, alter them in some way so that you can start the harvesting.
You start as a lowly sort of person who's just sort of coming into, like you're finally graduated to the big leagues, which is collecting the lint, and
I think you've
paid for your lint license.
Yes, you're just breaking into the industry. You've got like one little floating rowboat that you're going around in, and like five
a tiny little like hourglass that has the seed sand in it, and you're just trying to make yourself.
The designs on this could be so cool because I'm picturing the hourglass like mounted on your ship in some way, and
fuck
yeah, like that'd be awesome.
You got to. I like the idea that if it stays still, it starts to clump together. So it's one of those things of you have to keep on.
It's constantly, running out and turning.
You have to turn it, otherwise it.
You have to do it like the player has to manually do it.
Well, it's a plate spinning thing. It's a thing of you're managing this over here. Oh shit, the seed sand! Like, quick turn it.
Right. It'll just like you'll lose some time if you don't get to it on time because you'll have to like shake it up a bit or something or declump it or whatever you do. Yeah.
You got to run a declumping algorithm.
Defrag.
It's actually
defrag your seed sand.
You got to defragment it.
Yeah.
Or refragment it. It's a refrag.
Refrag. Got to run the refrag. Because it's all clumped together.
You just run a rake through it.
You've just got your Zen garden.
Oh my god, I love that idea as well. Like,
well, that's once you get big. Like, once you're so like powerful and rich with sand, it's like, well, you can waste seed sand on a Zen garden that you're just
little rake. Oh my god, that's so cool.
This is great. I love this.
There's just something about it that means you can once you get powerful enough, you can try to take over someone else's area and muscle into their area until finally you're controlling this whole city.
Is there combat then? It's like, are you like literally, you can outfit your ships in with like some you can outfit with things that are better for harvesting and like bigger holds, but you can also choose to go the different way. It's like, these ones we're going to deploy at the edge of our area, so they've got cannons and shit. Like you've got actual kind of naval warfare.
I like the idea. Like the idea of being able to set out sand sentries that you can have just protecting your border so that you can't have other people coming into your area.
Yeah,
but you can potentially work out how to get past their sand sentries.
Yeah. Well, I think everything that you build uses a combination of lint and seed sand. so that you have and the seed sand is sort of the more valuable thing.
So where does seed sand come from then?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like it refills over time. Like maybe it comes from like the hourglasses themselves are somewhat like magical, or they're like a biodome for whatever process is, a biosphere for whatever process is happening to grow the seed sand.
Oh, and the size of the hourglass, it always tries to keep it to that same level of sand.
Essentially, yeah. Well, it's one way or the other, but yes, I think essentially you have a rate of sand that continuously regrows, refills.
I kind of like the idea that if you don't do this, basically your cup overrunneth with sand, and it causes lots of issues.
It causes chaos because there's like too much. People are asleep. Like the town just is asleep all the time, and people realize that shit's happening and bring the army in. And
I kind of like, I've got sort of Dredge on the mind at the moment because I've been going through and playing that a little bit more.
Nice.
I do like the idea of having like the eldritch sort of like this sand is actually
it's sort of unknowable
eldritch
in some way,
unknowable of origin. So it's literally like it turns out that you're brought into this thing of, you may actually just be a human that's being brought into this world that is sort of like, okay, now you get to know the secrets, like,
but nobody knows where the seed sand comes from.
We don't know where the seed sand comes from. All the time, it's just it manifests into this hourglass. You cannot keep the hourglass can never stay still. It must always be moving. Otherwise, this is what happens. And it's like, you show the Hindenburg, like, just.
That was okay. This was one of the early times where we tried to utilize the seed sand. Oh, God.
Challenger, Hindenburg, like any disaster. The Titanic. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, it wasn't an iceberg. It was a sandberg.
Because someone had left their seed sand and it had clumped so much that the ship ran into it. I love that.
My
but
God,
what you find out though then is that yes, like it's coming from a weird place, but what it actually is seed sand is the belly button lint of like seventh dimensional beings. And these hourglasses are essentially like a conduit to their belly buttons in some way into our dimension. Yeah.
I fucking love this. This is so good. 3, 2, 1, click.
Yeah, leave it on that high note.
Fuck
for sure.
me, this is so good.
Outpatient.
Rod.
That's got to be a name. We've got to take that as Rod. Like short for Rodney or short for Rodnasium.
It's either that or I've just got, The Simpsons on the brain again. It's like
carbon rod.
or the good old Dungeons and Dragons immovable rod. Like you push the button and it just can't move from the location. But no, Outpatient and Rod. Yeah, I like that. Okay. What's special about Rod?
Maybe he's a hypochondriac.
Ooh, okay.
This is why he's constantly having to go in for procedures
do you play Rod or do you play the person who has to deal with Rod?
It's a good question. It could be interesting being like a medical receptionist or something, or a medical like clinic in a Papers, Please-ish sort of way.
Ooh, yes. And
Rod is just one of the people who comes in.
Well, I'm thinking Rod is just that's this hospital's nickname for anyone who's a hypochondriac. It's just they're a Rod.
Yeah.
Oh God, we've got another Rod. Oh, fuck.
It is based on an actual person called Rod, though. You find this out through conversation. Who was like someone who came in every day until one day they actually had something serious. Nobody believed them, and they died.
And it's like the whole time it's like, oh, it's actually been kind of sad, and that's the reason why they keep on saying, you've got to.
You have to deal with the rods. Yeah,
you have to deal with the rods.
I know they're annoying, but you've got to take them seriously every single time because you never know.
You got to test them, and it's like, oh, their temperature is actually low, that's a sign of an actual disease, and the diseases that they could be coming in with get more technical and all this sort of stuff every day, and it's different ones. You get to know some of the rods.
So this is interesting. Are you essentially doing some sort of preliminary diagnosis in a way, or at least just deciding, yes, they can be accepted into the emergency room or something, or it's like, no, like this is not serious enough. Go away.
So at first, all you've got is like, you've got, the form that they're throwing you.
Yep.
And you can stick a thermometer in their mouth and you can like listen to their heartbeat or something like that.
Well, I reckon to start in the very papers, please way. Yeah. You don't have those tools yet. It's just based on what they've written on the form. And you inevitably get some of those wrong because, yes, they had a temperature, but they didn't realize they didn't write that down or whatever. And then you got a report later on.
You should have noticed that they had a hot water bottle just sitting right there.
Yeah. And so it's like, okay, if you suspect something's up, take their temperature, and they give you one of the little like handheld
rectal thermometer.
All right, turn around, bend over. No, I think I'm thinking like the forehead,
open wide.
The forehead,
damn it,
thermometer things, the
ones that don't actually
infrared
work.
ones or whatever. well, I mean, there must be some that work. There must be a technology that works in some way. They're not just using it for no reason.
It just guesses randomly between 37 and 40.
Somewhere in there.
It could be up to 5 degrees out. The matter of life or death.
You also get like a supply of generic paracetamol that you can also just decide to dole out if you think that that's going to solve it, that sort of thing. And then
you're told what sort of things that the doctors want to see for the day, like
well, or I think maybe like initially it's just like yes, get them appointment, or no, turn them away. But then you start getting like specializations and stuff, like different doctors start working at the same clinic, and you have to decide which doctor to send them to based on, what direction you think their symptoms are going in.
These are walk-ins.
Yeah.
So the rods are only walk-ins, and then you got the regular patients coming through. So you got to choose which walk-ins you actually allow to see a doctor, sort of thing, like, and try to slip them into the schedule.
So the regular patients, you're saying you always let them in, like they've got appointments.
You got to, because they've got an appointment, so therefore they're fine. It doesn't really matter,
right? So is this a mixture then of papers, please, and not tonight, where when a regular patient comes in, you have to like check them against the appointment list?
Yeah,
if the doctor's running late, you have to tell them to sit down or whatever. So you still have to, the appointment times might not exactly match up, but you have to, kind of keep that queue going and not let the wrong person in ahead, even though everyone's running behind and their appointment time was now. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And then you've got the, and then you got the rods where you've got to choose the people who are actually really sick that really should be seeing a doctor.
Versus no, sorry, we don't have appointments. And that, because if they are sick enough and you let them in, it's going to offset your whole appointment schedule. People are going to get mad.
But the doctor's going to be like, thank you for sending that person in. They had cancer.
Or like they had
really
appendicitis or something, or something acute.
They literally had a hot water bottle down their top.
Why did you waste that time? That's cool. I think that'd be an interesting mix for Papers, Please-esque gameplay. That's great. We've come up with some good ones tonight.
This going back to basics of Click Pitch Classic.
I think sometimes it's good to mix that up, and it gives us a bit more. We can just base it just off that one word, and the rest is our imagination.
And just take it anywhere that we want.
Yeah,
which is usually to Papers, Please.
We do. We do go back to the Papers, Please a lot, but it's just such an interesting gameplay kind of thing. It is so good. It's so good. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Thank you, Lucas Pope. I think that's all we have time for tonight.
Yeah, it is.
So if you'd like to find the rest of our episodes online, go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. They're all up there. And leave us a review. Let us know your favourite Lucas Pope game that we should rip off.
Mine's Return of the Obra Dinn.
Wow, it's pretty fucking good.
Yeah. If you like the song that we play at the start and end of each episode, that song is called Mad Defiance off of the album Containment Failure by the band Kuradust. It's awesome. Go check it out. Kuradust.bandcamp.com.
That's right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And I'm off to the gymnasia. Multiple of them.
Which one? The Gym Junkies one?
Oh yeah, man, I gotta carb up and do some reps.
Get some supplements.
Fucking punch some roided out dudes.